is to just interact and be friends. With invite Furqan, who is the batch of 1981, information, digital change, vara vara. I leave, I think the stage to him.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum ji, I'm Stuart. I was trying to explain to Alia here that chronologically we are 1981, academically we are 79, because whatever happened between those 2 years is a different issue. If you want to know my background, I come from the technology industry. More precise, I've been on the business side of technology. Having said that, bluff me off on technology, but I'll go deep down and come back into it, because where I served for almost 2 decades and I went to telecom. Coming back to IBA, I came here for my daughter's admission in 2003. Please have seen it hasn't changed. Otherwise, I was looking for the evening program office down there for the dean. It's nice to see change for the better. To a subject that is technical, but it has its own vision. In 2000, everybody said, oh my God, this is going to happen, and then everything. In court, a gentleman whose name I can't recall because it's a very difficult name to pronounce. Back in 2001, he said the pace of change between 1800 and the year 2000. So I've added my 2 pence to it. My 2 pence is that between 2020 and 2025, the change will be. I did this something like this back in Islamabad, and it's a little more conservative than Karachi in terms of business. Somebody asked me a question: is D-Day coming close? I said that I can't predict. I can tell you the tools are being manufactured for that. But know that आपके मुमकिन नकीर आपके सारे जी लिख रहे हैं. मैं कहा आपको पता है, मैंने ये नहीं कहा कि आपको पढ़ाया जाएगा, आपको दिखाया जाएगा. तो जी बिल्कुल दिखाया जाएगा. आप do interrupt me in the middle if you have any questions, because I don't want to take questions right at the end. It's a tradition in some places. Very quickly, to give you a little background, this is unfortunately or fortunately driven by technology. The history of technology has been that business has driven technology. And most technology failures or investment in technology failures have been because people have tried to drive business by technology. The scale has changed now. The pace at which business is changing is slower than the pace at which technology is changing. So a gentleman called Brian Saltis, who happens to be a very leading consultant in the US on digital subjects, and this is his company called Brian Saltis, Altimeter. He came up with a concept called digital Darwinism, which is very interesting. And he defined it as follows: digital Darwinism is when society changes at a faster pace than you change as an individual. You become a Darwin age person, that's what he means. If you don't change with the pace at which society is changing, which is the mobile-driven revolution, which is the app-driven revolution, which is the IoT or the Internet of Things. I will show you. By the way, I have 85 slides to cover in a short time. Yasmin's eyes have already popped off. Don't worry, they'll cover. You'll be surprised.
I have a question here. Why do you say that? Well, I forget what you said about it, but then the definition that you gave, isn't it true that every generation, the younger generation is always faster than the older generation to adjust to technology?
It is, but not at the same pace. For example, if you look at desktop, they lasted like about 10 years before laptop came. My first desktop came in my desk, I remember back in 1987. My first laptop came in about 1992. My email address on Hotmail is as old as 1993. But my registrations or enrollments on Facebook, WhatsApp has happened, and you name it, has happened, Twitter, blah, 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 in the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Of those, Snapchat, Instagram, name the app stores, they've come up in the last 2 years, becoming very popular and becoming immensely penetrative into your social life. So that's the pace at which your mindset has to work. What it does to you socially is it breaks you off. It keeps you busy, which we see the group going back like Ovais sitting in Germany, and thank you Ovais for organizing this. This is a classic example of digital stuff. Ovais sits in Germany, he initiated this whole program, and here I am. This is what the world's coming to. You couldn't have done this 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, at least not in Pakistan, maybe in the years before. So the bottom line is that there are lots of technology. I won't go into the details of what those technologies are. I will talk about them right at the end when I pick it up as a technology subject. But they are driving technology, but there's another element that has become very consequential to business. And that is the core driver that pulls this off for digital, which actually says, if you don't transform, your customer will run away. If your customer runs away, your business runs away. If your business runs away, your revenue runs away. If your revenue runs away, your profit runs away. You're no more in the fortune list. That's the worry of the big corporations, and they're very damaging. So what happens is, this is the customer experience that is changing. And it's changing at a very rapid pace. Consumers are becoming very tech savvy, very digital. There is a concept now called the quantified self, which means a quantified self is you know your statistics, you know your pulse rate, you know your heart rate, you know your blood pressure, you know your calorie levels, you know what your burn rate is, you know exactly where you are location-wise, you know exactly where you're going location-wise, and now you get scared by the fact, how come everybody knows everything about me? That's the downside of it. There will be zero privacy in the future. You got a question? Oh, this one? Well, it's about different technology in different spheres of life. For example, in the middle you have the IT infrastructure, if you like. On the core you have things like apps like messaging, which is Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever. Then you have geolocation like Google Maps. Then you have big data, which is something I'm going to talk about, which is we don't have. Then there are some apps that are there. The gamification is a big concept coming in. Gamification is going to be the future of education, by the way. We had pedagogic, then we had experiential, now we'll have gamification, which means the faculty will be, with due respect, a little more redundant.
So Monsri coming.
So what you will do is,
We've already become redundant.
so instead of actually doing the act of teaching, you will actually end up doing what famous actors do with animation movies, giving their voice only. It's the flip side of it, you can do it from home. So the world's changing, and it's happening at a very rapid pace. Very, very rapid. I enrolled to I came into this training industry about a year ago. I enrolled into a particular forum, and gamification has just picked up. And there is a 7,000 people conference taking place in the United States 3 days from now on gamification of training.
Was it UP2?
Sorry?
Was it UP2?
One of them happens to be them, yeah. But there are plenty who are coming. And it's a big market. It's over $3.5 billion education market. You can imagine $3.5 billion education market, gamifying education, or training rather, not education. So that's what it is about. At the outer core is, of course, all those sensor-based devices. I'll talk about sensors right at the end. So this is what is happening. And it's real, it's happening. Either you take it on your face and decide. If you don't, you're going to get run away. What is the disaster part? The disaster part is established companies can be dethroned by a nimble company from a garage. And this is not Steve Jobs' garage that took 25 years for Apple to come to what the stage is. It's Zuckerberg's garage. It took 3-4 years. The guy earns $30 billion a year, is valued at $180 billion, $250 billion. So the valuations have changed. That's where the challenge is. I want to show you this video of a lady. Her name is, I just played it. Anyway, she's an Oracle EVP. She is now a social selling evangelist. She was head of sales at Oracle. Jill Rowley is her name. This sets the stage for what the customer experience is. And ladies, you should be very happy because she's teaching the female gender. What?
We're living in the age of the customer, no longer in the age of the seller. Customers today, not only do they have choice, but they have voice. across social networks that reach around the world. It's not word of mouth, it's world of mouth. Transformation has occurred in the buyer. Today's buyer, she's digitally driven, she's socially connected, she's mobile with multiple devices, she's real-time empowered. The millennials, those are the folks between the ages of 18 and 34. They will comprise 75% of the world's workforce by 2025. Millennials are digital natives, born mobile social. Millennials want to work for companies that have purpose beyond profit, and they want to make money that matters. Your network is your net worth. Porter Gale wrote the book. Your network is your net worth. And so I am trying to transform the way that the world's companies sell. And I'm trying to help them stop selling and start serving their customers. And I'm moving the mantra from ABC, always be closing, to ABC, always be connecting.
Sets the stage for your digital consumer. So it's actually real. You can't deny that it's not real. I asked this question at a forum about 4 weeks ago, that where do you think Pakistan stands? On the left, we are probably close. On the right is Europe and the United States. So we have to catch up with them for the next at least 15 years. The pace at which they will go, we will have no choice but to catch up with them before 2020, or we will not be in the race. This is particularly important for people in the export industry, because their customers will be digitally driven, they will be digitally organized, their entire business will be digitally done. So if they don't catch up with this, they will be disrupted by somebody else in some other country who's actually caught on to the digital world. There are many reasons people have. This is coming out of a 7-year research. By the way, digital transformation initiative started about 10 years ago. I have been studying this for the last 7. I left the first 3 because I thought this was another dot-com boom, it will go down. Why spend 3 more years on it studying and it will crash? But it didn't. It's taken a solid foothold. And the people who did this were people from Facebook, people from Google, and the third one, anyone? Yeah, IBM. IBM's coming in the race now. I can't be disloyal to an employer.
Amazon has stolen the show.
Sorry?
Amazon has stolen the show.
Amazon was a part of the deal, yes, but it came from the outside. From a technology perspective, it was the 3 of them. From business perspective, yes, it was Amazon. It is a classic example of digital. Yeah, absolutely. 17 years in the red, and still sustaining business, market value going up and up and up and up and up. How many of you will survive a 17-year stint without revenue? How many of you will buy a company for $19 billion which makes 0 revenue? The game's changed. The mindset has changed. The way you think business is changing. This is the problem. Business is not driving technology. Technology is driving your mindset to do business. And if you're not tech savvy, you will see a slide here which says if your board, your CEO, your C-level are not digitally ready, fire them. That's how difficult it's becoming now. So now you understand what disruption is? There is 2 ways to look at this picture. Either you get disrupted, or you become disruptive. So it's for the taking. If you lie down and say, I'll react, respond when it comes to me, highly likely you will be disrupted. If you start thinking about it now, highly likely you will make it with a few errors. Lucky if you are, you'll probably strike in the first blow. What do you need to do that? You actually need a strong vision. Imagine yourself as if you have just started a business. Forget about what your history was. Forget about that I produced National Masala, Shan Masala, or Dollar Pen, or whatever. Forget about it for the time being. Just think you started this business now. What would you do given all the facilities of technology now? And then look for a long-term vision, not for 15, 16, 18, 19. Look for 2025. Have a stopgap somewhere in 2020 to switch over to the new technology. It will change again. I'll show you some examples of products, and you will be convinced to remember this statement that you will force yourself to change. But that's how it's happening right now. Second, you need to have a roadmap, like any other business. Do you need a financial business plan for this? You think WhatsApp had a financial business plan? You think Zuckerberg had a financial business plan? You think Snapchat had a business plan? You think bankers in this group will give him loan? Google invested $300 million, blind spot, into Instagram. It wasn't even making revenue worth 5 billion. It wasn't even valued at 10 billion. But Google saw the potential of it. What is the criteria of decision making now? Nobody knows. It's going somewhere here. People are still trying to analyze why did Zuckerberg spend 19 billion for a company which never paid a penny. It's all fiction so far. Stanford is trying to do a research, GBS Stanford, which is their graduate business school, trying to figure out, are the venture capitalists driving it? Or is it people who own places like Google and blah, blah, blah actually driving it? They still don't know. So what you do is three things. You have to have vision and a leadership. You need it in any business. But this leadership is different. This leadership is not going to work if you're not digitally ready. I know you have CEOs across companies who said, I'm not an IT person, I'm a chartered accountant, I'm a businessman, I'm a finance major, blah, 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 blah. I have an IT group, very savvy, very good, I trust them, let them handle the technology. This was the past, not anymore. You need a digital transformation team, you need an organization structure. And of course, you need digital customer experience. This was in the old days, last year or 2 years ago, called customer relationship management. See, here's CRM. They're not worried about relationship. When I take you through a customer journey, you will realize what this means. So what do they look for in business leadership? What kind of leadership do you need here? People who have a vision of what? People who love change. People who challenge status quo. There are three types of organizations we'll talk about as we go forward, and we'll talk about how the leadership fits in there. And if you're an existing organization, you need executive support. The CEO has to get involved. There is no escape from him anymore. He has to directly get involved in all digital initiatives because this is the future of his company. This is what somebody said, and he's no chota admi. He is the CEO of Forrester Research. You want me to read this for you? It's a bad habit reading your own slides, but I'll read it for you. If you can't understand the new world of digital, fire yourself. You want to go beyond this? Build an executive team that is digital first. When problems arise, the first solution is always digital. Make sure there is techie on the board of directors. If the board has a low digital IQ, the company will have a low digital IQ. And he's not the only one saying this.